Hello there, and welcome to Sleepy Nights. This is Kevin, and tonight we'll journey back to 1940's New York. But first, let's just take a moment to relax and get comfortable. Just take a small moment to find a position where you can fully let your body rest. Maybe letting your head sink into a pillow, feeling that gentle support. Now, let's take a deep, slow breath in through our nose. And as you breathe out, just imagine the stress exiting your body. As we breathe again, we become even more relaxed. We become heavy and still. We can feel a wave of calm moving slowly upward from our toes, all the way to the top of our heads. There's no need to concentrate too deeply to the story. Just simply let my voice carry you as we drift into tonight's tale. Now, as your breathing becomes as steady as raindrops, and your mind as quiet as a city street at midnight, prepare to join me in a story of discovery, connection, and the gentle magic found in the sleeping hours of New York's past. You sit at your desk in the corner of New York Chronicle's bustling newsroom, staring at the stack of photographs your editor has just returned. The red pencil marks across your work cut deep. Too stiff. No feeling. Technically perfect, but where's the heart? Walsh, Editor Barnes calls from his doorway. You got a minute? You straighten your tie before walking across the worn wooden floor, past reporters hammering out tomorrow's headlines. A late afternoon sun slants through tall windows, catching dust motes and cigarette smoke in beams of amber light. I'll be straight with you, Barnes says when you enter, removing his glasses to rub the bridges of his nose. Your technical skills are unquestionable, but that's not what sells newspapers. We need photographs that make people feel something. Barnes taps your portfolio. I'm giving you one more assignment. A special feature for the weekend edition. The Soul of New York at Night. Show me what this city really is when most folks are sleeping. As you leave the Chronicle building, evening air carries the first hint of autumn crispness. Your camera bag hangs heavy at your side. Your faithful Graflex speed graphic, extra film holders, flash bulbs, all the technical tools you've mastered. Yet, they suddenly feel inadequate for capturing something as elusive as a city's soul. The streetlights flicker on as twilight deepens. Where to begin? As if echoing your uncertainty, the first drops of rain begin to fall. The light rain quickly becomes more insistent. You tuck your precious camera bag beneath your coat and step under a shop awning. The city transforms around you. Streets turn to mirrors, reflecting neon signs. Pedestrians become anonymous shapes, hurrying through pools of lamplight. You check your watch. 11:30 p.m. The night stretches before you, full of possibility, but also daunting. How do you photograph something so intangible as a city's soul? Lost in your thoughts, you barely notice the yellow taxi that pulls up until its driver calls out. Need some shelter from the rain, son? You look up to see an elderly man watching you from the driver's seat. His face kind beneath a worn cap. Something about his eyes catches your attention. They seem to hold a peculiar wisdom, an amused sparkle that doesn't match his weathered face. Thanks, but I'm working, you reply, patting your camera bag. The man's eyebrows rise with interest. A photographer, huh? Night like this offers some special pictures. He extends his hand. Name's Jack. Been driving this cab for, well, longer than I care to admit. You shake his hand. Firm grip. Calloused fingers. Henry Walsh. New York Chronicle. Tell you what, Henry. How about I show you some spots most folks never see? Places where, you might find whatever you're looking for. You hesitate. It's an unusual offer, but something about Jack feels trustworthy, almost familiar. The meter's off, Jack adds with a wink. Consider it my contribution to the arts. The rain drums harder on the awning above you. Your deadline looms, and there's something in Jack's offer that sparks your curiosity. Why not, you say, sliding into the worn leather seat that smells of decades of passengers. First time I've had a photographer in my cab in years, Jack says, pulling away from the curb. Yeah, I used to know quite a bit about photography myself. My editor says my pictures lack soul, you admit, surprising yourself with the confession. Jack nods slowly. Yeah, technical skills only take you so far. The real magic happens when you connect with what you're photographing. He makes a turn onto Broadway. Let's start where everyone thinks they know New York, but at an hour when it shows its true face. Times Square at midnight is a different world from the bustling chaos of daylight hours. The crowds have thinned to scattered figures, moving like ghosts through pools of colored light. Neon signs reflect in the rain-slicked pavement, creating shimmering mirrors that seem to double the world. Most folks, well, they only see this place when it's packed, Jack says, pulling to a stop. But this is when it breathes. You step out, protecting your camera from the light rain. The air feels electric, the hum of neon and the distant sounds of a city. A saxophone from some unseen nightclub, the occasional honk of taxis, the steady patter of rain. Look there. Jack points to where a lone street cleaner pushes his broom through rivers of colored light. He's been sweeping the same stretch for around 30 years. His name's Otto. How do you know that? You ask, already framing the shot. Well, taxi drivers know everything worth knowing in this city, Jack says with a knowing smile. You raise your camera and capture the street cleaner. His silhouette, haloed by the glow of a movie marquee advertising Casablanca. Good, Jack murmurs, but wait. And as if on cue, a couple appears, sharing an umbrella, walking slowly across the square. They pause beneath the largest neon sign, faces illuminated in soft blue. Now, Jack whispers. You capture the moment, the couple, the lights, the wet pavement, creating a perfect reflection. Something about the composition feels right, in a way your work rarely has. Used to be horse-drawn carriages right where they're standing, Jack says quietly. I remember when they installed the first electric signs. People thought it was like bringing daylight to night. The way he speaks makes it sound like personal memory, though he couldn't possibly be that old. But before you question it, he guides you to different vantage points, showing you angles and moments you might have missed. A newsboy counting coins beneath a theater marquee. Steam rising from a pretzel vendor's cart, catching colored light like ethereal ribbons. Getting anything worth printing? Jack asks, after you've worked for nearly an hour. You nod, feeling a growing excitement. These do feel different, like I'm seeing Times Square for the first time. It's because you're not just looking at it, Jack says, turning back towards his taxi. You're feeling it. He checks his pocket watch. Now, you want to capture the city's heartbeat. There's someplace else we should visit. Jack's taxi winds through Harlem streets, now quieter as the clock ticks past 1 in the morning. The rain has softened to a gentle mist, but makes the streetlights glow with halos. Most clubs have closed by now, you say, watching the buildings slide past. Most, Jack agrees, with a knowing smile. But not all. Some places, the real music doesn't start until the paying customers leave. He pulls to a stop beside an unmarked brick building. Faint golden light spills from a basement window, and you hear the mellow notes of a saxophone winding through the night air like ribbons of smoke. Jack leads you to a nondescript door and knocks in a distinctive pattern. A large man in a sharp suit opens it, breaking into a wide smile at the sight of your guide. Jack, it's been too long, man. He embraces Jack like an old friend, then gives you a questioning look. He's with me, Leon, Jack says. Photographer from the Chronicle, capturing the city's night soul. You descend a narrow staircase into what feels like another world. The basement club is dimly lit by scattered table candles, creating pools of golden illumination in a sea of comfortable shadow. On a small stage, 5 musicians are playing for an audience of almost no one. Just a few scattered tables of late-night dreamers. After hours they play for themselves, Jack whispers as you find a table. No audience expectations, just pure jazz. The saxophonist, a slender man with eyes closed in concentration, leans into a solo that seems to bend time itself. The pianist watches him with a slight smile, fingers dancing across the keys in perfect complement. Perfect light for photography, Jack comments, nodding toward the stage where the overhead spotlight creates dramatic shadows across the musicians' faces. You begin capturing images. The saxophonist, with head tilted back in musical ecstasy. The drummer's hands blurred in motion. the bassist's fingers pressed against strings with elegant precision. Between shots, you notice Jack exchanging nods of recognition with several patrons. A waitress brings him a whiskey without being asked, calling him Mr. Jack with obvious affection. Come here often? You ask. In another life, he replies, and points toward the piano player. You notice how the candlelight catches just the edge of his profile. As you shot, half in shadow, half in light, like the music itself. You follow his suggestion and feel a thrill as you capture the image. There's something perfect about it, something that speaks to the essence of this hidden room beneath the sleeping city. You seem to know a lot about photography for a taxi driver. You comment during a brief pause between songs. Jack just shrugs. Picked up some things over the years. Guess I always had an appreciation for those who capture moments worth remembering. He sips his whiskey. Sometimes I think photographs remember things better than people do. The music shifts to something slower, more melancholy. A woman in a midnight blue dress steps up to the microphone and begins to sing in a voice like velvet and smoke. This is the last song of the night, Jack whispers. Make it count. You raise your camera one final time, framing a shot that includes the singer, the pianist's hands, and a few rapt listeners. The image feels like it captures not just what the club looks like, but what it feels like. The intimacy, the shared appreciation of beauty. Jack's taxi glides toward the Brooklyn Bridge. Its stone towers rising into the night sky like ancient sentinels. It's nearly 2:30 in the morning now, and the city has settled into that strange liminal hour when even New York seems to hold its breath. No better place to see the city's reflection than from the middle of that bridge. Jack says, as you approach the majestic span. Been carrying people across this bridge since it opened. The bridge opened in 1883, you point out with a smile. Jack just chuckles. Just a figure of speech, kid. He pulls to a stop at the bridge entrance. We'll walk from here. Best way to really see it. The bridge welcomes you with its cathedral-like presence. Gothic arches rise overhead, strung with lights that create a path of stars leading into the darkness. Your footsteps echo on the wooden planks as you follow Jack toward the center span. "27 people died building this bridge," Jack says, including John Roebling himself. His son Washington finished it, watching through a telescope from his apartment when he got too sick to visit the site. He runs a hand along the railing. There's a story behind everything in this city, if you know where to look. You reach the first tower and step into its window. The view opens up dramatically. Manhattan's skyline to the west. Constellation of lights. Brooklyn's most modest profile to the east. Between them, the East River flows like liquid obsidian, reflecting the bridge lights in shimmering ribbons. Jack leads you to a perfect vantage point, midway between the towers. This is where you'll find what you're looking for, he says with certainty. You begin to work, capturing the geometric patterns of the bridge cables against the city lights. The perfect symmetry of the towers. The way the entire scene is mirrored, the calm waters below. Wait for that tugboat to reach the center, Jack says. It'll create a path of disturbed reflections that lead the eye across the composition. His photographic knowledge seems too precise for casual interest. Too intuitive for someone who merely appreciates the art. Were you ever a photographer, Jack? You ask him directly. He gazes out at the harbor. silent for a long moment. Let's just say I've spent a lifetime observing this city through different frames. He smiles enigmatically. Some people are meant to experience life, others to capture it. A few lucky ones get to do both. The diner glows like a lighthouse on the quiet street corner. Its windows steamy with warmth. Ruby's all-night eats proclaims the neon sign above the door. A few letters flickering but still proudly illuminating the entrance. Best apple pie in the city, Jack promises you as you enter. And Ruby makes coffee strong enough to develop film in. The bell above the door announces your arrival to a half-dozen nighttime patrons. 2 police officers drink coffee at the counter, nodding at Jack with recognition. A nurse, still in uniform, reads a paperback over a half-eaten sandwich. Jack, calls a robust woman from behind the counter. Jack, I thought you might come by tonight. Wouldn't miss your pie, Ruby, Jack responds, leading you to a booth. This is Henry. He's photographing the city tonight. Ruby studies you with interest. A photographer? Like it. She catches herself, looking quickly at Jack. Like my old friend, Jack finishes smoothly. You move through the diner, capturing images with quiet respect for the patrons. Most smile or nod in acknowledgement, comfortable with your presence. What strikes you most is the sense of community among these strangers. Individuals together in their aloneness. As you enjoy the perfect apple pie Jack promised, you notice a framed photograph on the wall behind the counter. It shows the diner in what appears to be the 1930s, with a younger Ruby behind the counter. The composition is striking. Morning light streaming through the windows, highlighting the diverse faces of customers from another era. That's a beautiful photograph, you comment, when Ruby refills your coffee. Oh, thank you, she says, glancing at it with affection. One of my favorites. A regular took that years ago. Had a way of seeing things, making the ordinary look special, you know. Leave the camera bag in the taxi, Jack suggests as you reach Central Park. Just bring what you need. We'll walk from here, kid. Inside, the park is transformed by night, the aftermath of rain. A light mist hovers just above the ground, catching what little illumination comes from scattered lampposts. Trees rise on either side, their leaves occasionally releasing collected raindrops that fall with gentle taps. Most folks think the park is dangerous at night, Jack says, his voice hushed. But it has its own kind of peace, if you know how to find it. The path winds to a small bridge over one of the park's ponds. You pause there, captivated by the perfect reflection of a lamppost in the still water, creating a complete circle of light. A movement catches your eye. Something pale moving through the mist. As you watch, a small group of deer emerge from the trees, their forms ghostly in the low light. They move with delicate grace to the water's edge, seemingly unaware of your presence. Incredible, you whisper, raising your camera. I didn't know deer still lived in the park. Most people don't see them, Jack says, perfectly still beside you. They know when it's safe to appear. You capture several images of the deer, the reflections in the pond, the way the mist flows around their legs. The moment feels suspended in time, as if you stepped into a pocket of wilderness that exists alongside but separate from the city. Some things in New York are eternal, Jack says quietly. They exist beyond the buildings and the streets, beyond what most people ever notice. The taxi heads toward the East River, where the future headquarters of the United Nations is under construction. Even at this early hour, skeletal framework of the building is visible against the gradually lightening sky. Not much to look at yet, You comment as Jack parks near the fenced construction site. But what it represents, Jack replies, is worth seeing. The world deciding to come together in the heart of New York. After all the destruction of the war, something hopeful rising. You follow him to a vantage point. The half-built structure is framed by the East River and the first hint of dawn. The construction site is peaceful now. The massive building materials and machines waiting in silent potential. The city is always becoming something new, while remembering what it was, Jack says. That's what makes it special. It transforms without losing itself. You begin photographing, capturing the interplay of the emerging building against the pre-dawn sky. The skeletal framework creates geometric patterns that suggest both strength and possibility. The future taking physical form. Jack checks his pocket watch. Almost 6. You should have time to develop those photographs before your editor comes in. As Jack drives you back toward the Chronicle building, the city begins to wake around you. Early commuters wait at bus stops. Shopkeepers raise their metal gates. Delivery trucks rumble down streets still wet from the night's rain. Thank you, you say, as he pulls up in front of your building. I've lived here my whole life, but tonight it was like seeing New York for the first time. Jack smiles, the dawn light catching the lines around his eyes. Sometimes we need to see familiar things through fresh eyes. He reaches into his pocket, pulls out a small, worn business card with nothing but a phone number. If you ever need another tour, just call. The night reveals different secrets each time. The Chronicle building is quiet when you enter. You make your way to the dark room in the basement, a space you've come to think of as a second home. Familiar chemical smells greet you as you turn on the red safe light. Begin preparing the development trays. There's something meditative about the darkroom process. a rhythm of careful steps that calm your mind after the night's adventures. As the images emerge in the developer bath, your breath catches. These photographs are unlike anything you've ever captured before. The Times Square street cleaner emerges from the chemical bath, his silhouette perfectly balanced against the neon glow. The couple sharing the umbrella appears next, their moment of wonder beneath the lights, capturing something essentially human. One by one, the night's journey materializes. The jazz musicians lost in their after-hours performance. The Brooklyn Bridge spanning not just water, but time itself. The peaceful communion of night workers in Ruby's diner. The ghostly deer in Central Park's mist. But it's what's missing that first catches your attention. In the diner photograph, the booth where Jack sat should be visible in the background. But it appears empty. In the Brooklyn Bridge series, where you distinctly remember Jack standing beside you, pointing out the tugboat, there's no sign of him. Throughout all the images, your guide is conspicuously absent, as if he somehow knew exactly where to stand to remain outside the frame. You hang the developed photographs to dry, stepping back to study them with growing wonder. They're technically excellent, yes, but they're also something more. They contain the emotional essence of each location, the feeling of New York revealing itself in quiet moments. Barnes had asked for the soul of the city at night, and somehow, with Jack's guidance, you've captured it exactly. Walsh, get in here. Barnes's voice jerks you awake from where you dozed off in the break room couch. Sunlight streams through the window. It's mid-morning. You quickly straighten your rumpled clothes and make your way to the editor's office, where you find him standing before the photographs you left on his desk. These are... Barnes struggled to find the right words. His usual gruff manners softened by genuine admiration. These are extraordinary, Henry. How the hell did you channel Jack Finley in these shots? catches you off guard. Jack Finley. Barnes looks at you strangely. Don't tell me you don't know Finley's work. Greatest photographer this paper ever had. He gestures to the wall behind his desk, where you notice for the first time a framed photograph you've somehow overlooked during all your visits to his office. It shows Times Square in the rain, taken perhaps 20 years earlier, with the same street cleaner you photographed last night, looking much younger. The composition, the light, the feeling of the image, all eerily similar to your own. And the byline beneath it, Jack Finley, Chief Photographer, 1921 to 1938. Finley had this gift, Barnes continues, oblivious to your shock. He could capture a place like nobody else, what a place felt like. Not just what it looked like. Nobody's been able to match his work since he passed away. Passed away. Your voice sounds distant to your own ears. Barnes nods, settling into his chair. Heart attack, 1938. 10 years ago now. It's a shame he loved this city like nobody else. Used to say he knew every corner of it, every story, behind every building. He tapped your photographs. Whatever you did last night, keep doing it. These have that same Finley magic. You stare at the framed photograph, the face of the photographer, proudly posing beside his editor from a bygone era. The same kind eyes that watched you from the taxi driver's seat last night. The same knowing smile that guided you through the sleeping city. He used to mentor young photographers, Barnes added, especially ones with technical skill but no heart. He would drive them around in his car, showing them the real New York. Outside the office window, a yellow taxi passes, momentarily catching the morning sun on its windshield. You think of Jack's parting words. Sometimes we need to see familiar things through fresh eyes. And his business card, still in your pocket. A phone number that somehow you know will never answer, yet remains available to those who truly need it. I had a good guide, you tell Barnes, a smile spreading across your face. Someone who really knows this city. As you leave the editor's office, you pause by the window, watching the city in the daylight. The same streets and buildings you photographed hours ago, now bustling with energy and purpose. Somewhere out there, perhaps a yellow taxi is picking up another passenger who needs to see New York through different eyes. And in the dark room, your photographs wait, preserving moments from a night journey through a city where time, like light on wet pavement, sometimes reflects in unexpected and beautiful ways.